Welcome to the May 26, 2015 Town Board meeting for the Town of Ossining. Please stand for the pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilmember Blaha.
Present.
Councilmember Wilshire.
Present.
Councilmember Harder.
Present.
Councilmember Jeffrey.
Present.
And Supervisor Donnelly.
Present.
Do we have any announcements?
We most certainly do. What a wonderful weekend filled with celebrations honoring our armed forces who were lost defending this great nation and who continue to serve this country. It is very important that we continue to teach future generations how important it is to honor those who sacrifice themselves for our freedom, and that the freedom we enjoy, sometimes take for granted, doesn't come without great cost or sacrifice. We also honor those lost in the Ossining Fire Department during a Memorial Day weekend. This tight-knit group is a true example of brotherhood of men and women who care for each other as well as the community. As in the military service, our first responders are there to protect the residents and at the same time watch over each other and work as a team to ensure safety and peace for all. Tonight's agenda has some personnel items on it, including one resignation and one appointment to the supervisor's office. We wish Christina the best in her future endeavors. With Christina's departure, we'll be welcoming Bess, our new confidential secretary. With the restructuring of several other departments over the past year, this job calls for someone who can handle many tasks in a day. Besides researching grant opportunities, Bess is responsible for the following. At Dale Cemetery, he processes the deeds, including any invoices, preparing deposits from any funds brought in from Dale, performing financial reporting and spreadsheets, spending 1 day a week at Dale to assist in paperwork and functions of the cemetery. He works for the Parks Department, research and bidding out all items needed for the parks, items such as clay, stonework, benches, plaques, and cleaning supplies, entering all invoices for the department into our accounting package, KVS. Recreation, working with our Superintendent of Recreation and Parks, Chris Soy, who, by the way, is doing a fabulous job, to coordinate the summer concert series, ensuring all bands and musicians have their contract information correct, and as well as follow up during the concert series. And they coordinate any special programming done in the town parks. He will be taking care of the time clocks, ensuring that everyone is punching in and going through all the reporting for missed punch, putting together all the reporting and comparing them against the attendance reports and the timesheets. For the supervisor's office, he'll be investigating grants for projects, maintenance on all reporting on grants and applications for funding, management of the time clock system, as mentioned above, all invoice entry from departments who don't enter themselves in directly for KBS, and any special assignments from the supervisor or budget officer. Of course, they'll be answering the phones and getting the mail. Another item on the agenda tonight will be to pass a local law with no parking on certain streets in the unincorporated area. We listened to the folks along Old Albany Post Road and will allow parking inside the fog line for those who do not have other places to park on their property. This will allow us to clean up some of the verbiage in the law while making the streets in the unincorporated area safer for residents and emergency responders. We will also be appointing 2 seasonal employees who will be assigned to Lewis Angle Waterfront Park for all hours that the spray park is open. While they will be assigned to other duties, one of their major responsibilities will be to supervise and maintain the spray park. Using money from the sewer fund, we will be purchasing a high-pressure sewer jet trailer for the highway department. This was put out to bid and a winner was selected. This will help our highway department keep the sewer lines clear of debris and less dependence on a contractor. On this subject, please remember, it is not in anyone's best interest to flush handy wipes down the toilet. While some of the packaging may say they are flushable, they wreak havoc on our sewer system, causing a lot of damage and unnecessary stress to the highway crew when they are could be outperforming other work. We also have on tonight's agenda the senior, do we have it? The senior, okay. we won't be having, next week we'll have the senior nutrition contract approval. It just missed the agenda, so we don't want to do it tonight. On a completely separate issue, many of you are aware that I have withdrawn from as a candidate to the position of supervisor in the coming election. There has been quite a bit of misleading and misinformation out there about different issues in front of this town board, and despite our best efforts to be fair, transparent, and responsive as possible, you will never please everyone. I want to address one of these issues this evening. This board has already tabled the homestead option for this reassessment, which is about halfway complete. All five members of this board had committed that the board members who stayed on the board in 2016 after the election would vote not to implement homestead for this reassessment that will be completed in 2016 when it comes before the board. Even if only 3 of us had remained on the town board, homestead could not and would not have been implemented. The candidates that we know are running for the town board at this time have also committed to not implement the homestead option in the reassessment. However, I have received letters from condo boards that insinuate that something bigger is behind these decisions, and also suggest that this board, and specifically me as supervisor, is trying to pull something over on the community. You have already heard all of our commitments on the matter with your own ears and seen it in writing. It has been documented by the local media. Shame on anyone who continues to make this an issue when it is not. Shame on anyone who uses this as a scare tactic to further their own agenda. One silver lining in this dispute is that the community is interested in what the town board is doing. My hope is that our community, especially our condos, can continue this interest and input on matters in the future. We are here for the residents, and we want to hear from you. We want to make this community stronger and our residents happier. We can't listen if you're not speaking. I cannot tell you how proud I am to work with the individuals on this board, as well as the 2012 and 13 board. I am also proud to have worked with our staff and the majority of our elected officials who always put this community first and remember that they are here first and foremost to serve the public. I love this community dearly and pledge to always do my best to serve the residents for the next 7 months of my tenure and beyond. If you have any questions at all as to what this board is doing or this administration, please feel free to call us at 762-6001. Thank you.
Are there any other announcements?
There's one thing I'd like to say to our viewing audience about what a fog line is.
Okay, that would be great if you could do
Because
that.
Did
you have to look it up, or you knew what a fog line was?
No, I didn't until the other night at a meeting, and I heard it explained, and I'm pretty sure there's a few other people out there.
I'm
that
sure
don't
there
know.
are.
And the fog line is the either yellow or white line on the outside edge of the road. Now, why we couldn't say the outside edge of the road instead of fog line? Okay, but to those,
I guess that's a highway department term, because
but
that's
to
where we
those
got
who-
the fog
but
line
to
term
those who
from.
don't know,
It's a parking assistant.
but to those who don't know, that's
Right.
what it is.
But we just wanted to make sure that people did understand that we heard them, and we included that in the law, so, good night. Okay?
Any other announcements? We'll move on to public comment on agenda items. Is there anyone here to address the board on any of this evening's agenda items? Not seeing anyone, we'll go into board resolutions. Resolved, the town board of the town of Ossing hereby approves the May 12th, 2015 minutes of the regular meeting as presented. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolved that the town board of the town of Ossing hereby approves the May 19th, 2015 minutes of the special meeting as presented. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Austin hereby approves the voucher detail report dated May 26, 2015, in the amount of $274,115.32. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Austin hereby accepts with regret the resignation of confidential secretary to the supervisor, Christina Picciano, effective April 22nd, 2015. Do I have a motion?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Here comes the challenge. Resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Austin hereby appoints Bessem Hoxa? Oh, good, I did say it right. Austin to the position of confidential secretary in the office of the town supervisor at an annual salary of $50,000 effective May 26th, 2015. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Is there an-
I'd like to talk about this for a second. So when we had the budget discussion this year, this is when the confidential secretary appointment first came up. And I voiced my concerns with the budget for a couple of reasons. One of those reasons was we have 2 elected officials whose salaries had been cut significantly, and while both of those in this budget were raised, they were not made whole. At the same time, we've had one of our departments where the administrative assistant was made a part-time position. And so we have some things that this confidential secretary, according to the Madam Supervisor's statement, that seem to me shouldn't be handled in the supervisor's office and should be handled by some of these other departments, whether that be the highway department, whether that should be at Dale Cemetery. You know, I think grant things are very good. I get that. I think that's a good thing to have. I don't know if that's a full-time position or reviewing time clock entries and punchings, but you know, I just have problems with the fact that we are including a $50,000 position in the supervisor's office while there seems to be some issues in some of our other departments with respect to the ability to do certain things and in addition with the fact that I think that this position does not necessarily need to exist with respect to these particular things. And we have 2 positions that have still not been made whole. So for all of those reasons, I do not agree with the reappointment of position. And no offense to this individual, I want to make it extremely clear, I don't know this individual. This has nothing to do with this individual, but it has to do with the position itself.
Thank you.
I think it's important. Press approval.
You have to talk to the mic.
sorry?
You have to talk to the mic.
Yeah, talking, I can't hear you.
I think it's important that I retrace my steps and once again indicate that I would approve in the budget the yes. And that's really it.
Don't put words in his mouth, please. Okay.
I'm simply asking my fellow board member to
Okay.
clarify his view. So I'm sorry.
That's
I
okay.
misunderstood.
Okay.
I just,
I
with respect to the,
I'm,
this.
I'm already on notice.
This has nothing to do with the budget, you know, as far as those other people are concerned. This is a position that we chose in 2012 not to fill. We decided that we could do a lot ourselves. We took on a tremendous amount of work with 2 people in a supervisor's office. This is no reflection on people's where they are in salary. I have to tell you that when needed. We have put the confidential secretary into the tax office for a small period of time when one of the clerks went out for an operation in the middle of tax season. And we have had no problems in the highway department, and none of this work is done by a highway or the tax office. So,
Well,
again,
I mean-
you're more than welcome.
my understanding
We encourage
is
your
that-
opinion.
No, my understanding, it's not about my opinion. My understanding is that there are things that are being done within the supervisor's office that once were reports that were done in the highway department by the admin. Is that not true?
No, that's not true.
Okay. So, I mean,
It's just not, that's, the only
Okay,
thing we do
so-
outside, the only thing we do, and we've done that
Is-
ever since 2012, is we do our MS4 report, and we put it, and we work jointly on it, and we put it out on a consultant.
so
3 years
Dale
ago.
is new with respect to the changes. And there are things
Sure,
that are
I mean,
not.
you're more than
that's
welcome
fine.
to your opinion, yeah.
I just wanted to address briefly Councilwoman Jeffries' comments that somehow this has anything to do, that the appointment of a budgeted item for personnel would have anything to do with other approved budgeted items. I just don't see the need to mince words like that. This is an approved budgeted item, and the supervisor's office is acting, in my opinion, within the boundaries of an approved budgeted item. And to mix that up with something which Councilwoman Jeffrey is calling making somebody whole, I reject that notion that any employee is to be made whole. An employee is at the service of the town and gets paid according to the merit of their work. And a decision was made by this board to address merits-based pay. And that different decision on a different day at a different time than this was also properly put before the board, voted on, and approved. And I think it's inappropriate to bring it up now.
And Madam President, I just want to say,
But
So-
she's president now.
well, whatever.
I'm kidding.
We have work sessions, and this is where we supposed to work these things out. We are
But
not
this wasn't discussed in a work session.
It's also a supervisor's appointment.
It wasn't.
If we have a problem, we still should bring it up at our work session. We're not. This is not where we supposed to do this.
This wasn't in a work session.
But you already knew about it. You knew about the other one. You knew she had gone.
Yeah.
And we all knew that another one was coming in. So my only thing I'm saying is this is not the proper time and place to come up with argumentative things.
Well, I actually disagree.
Agreed.
Well, I disagree. I
Thank
think,
you,
number one, this
Councilman.
wasn't brought, we didn't know that this appointment was going to happen. I didn't know this appointment was going to happen until after our last work session. It was not discussed amongst any of us, and I don't agree that this is not the time to have a statement if you disagree with something. I also disagree. This may have been an approved budgeted item, but it was not a full, I didn't, at that point and that time, vote yes on it. So I am voicing why I'm consistent in my decision not to vote on this.
Okay,
That's all
thank you very much. Thank you very much. So we'll take a vote.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye, no, nay, whatever we're supposed to say on
Next,
that.
ma'am.
Okay, Local Law Number 3 of 2015. I will not read it its entirety.
But we just want to point out that all the adjustments and everything have been made on it. Okay?
Be it enacted by the Town Board of the Town of Austin, New York, as follows. Section 1, titled, "This local law shall be known and cited as Local Law Number 3 of 2015 for the purpose of amending the vehicle and traffic law of the Town of Austin regarding parking in designated public areas within municipally owned property and amending Section 188-11 of the Vehicle and Traffic Law. Section 2, legislative intent. The town board would like to clarify and improve the vehicle and traffic laws by adding certain provisions providing for public parking in designated areas of the municipally owned property during certain times of the day and for certain periods of time. this local law is determined to be an exercise of the legislative powers of the town to strengthen the vehicle and traffic law for the protection of the health, safety, and welfare of the residents, and to improve safety regulations, parking areas on local roads in the community. Section 3, 188-11 of the Vehicle and Traffic Law, parking prohibited at all times shall be revised to read as follows. And then we have all these streets listed. Let's see. We'll go to Section 4, ratification, readoption, and confirmation. Except as specifically modified by the amendments contained herein, the Code of the Town of Ossining as adopted and amended from time to time thereafter is otherwise to remain in full force and effect, and is otherwise ratified, readopted, and confirmed. Section 5, inclusion in the code. It is the intention of the Ossining Town Board, and it is hereby enacted, that the provisions of this local law shall be included in the Code of the Town of Ossining, and that the sections and subsections of this local law may be renumbered or relettered to or accomplish such intention, and that the word local law shall be changed to chapter, section, or other appropriate word as required for codification. Section 6, the location and numerical designation of this local law and the sections included here is hereby be delegated to the discretion of the codifier, General Code, which may renumber this local law and sections as are necessary to accommodate these amendments. Section 7, codification. This local law shall be incorporated into the Code of the Town of Ossining and shall be assigned a chapter number and appropriate section number by the codifier, General Code, in accordance with the numbering system of the code. Section 9.
One second, that's really Section 8. I'm sorry, we missed that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Missed that one.
Yes, we did. Okay, Section 8. Codifier changes. This local law shall be included in the Code of the Town of Ossining. The codifier shall make no substantive changes to this local law, but may renumber, rearrange, and edit without first submitting it to the Ossining Town Board. Any such rearranging, renumbering, and editing shall not affect the validity of this local law of the provisions of the code affected thereby. Section 9, separable clauses. The provision of this local law are separable, and if any provision, clause, sentence, subsection, word, or part thereof is held illegal, invalid, or unconstitutional, or inapplicable to any person or circumstances, such illegality, invalidity, or unconstitutionality, or inapplicably shall not affect or impair any of the remaining provisions, clauses, sentences, subsections, words, or parts of this local law, or their petition to other persons or circumstances. It is hereby declared to be the legislative intent that this local law would have been adopted if such illegal, invalid, or unconstitutional provisions, clause, sentence, subsection, word, or part had not been included therein, and if such person or circumstance to which the local law or part hereof is held inapplicable had been specifically exempt therefrom. Section 10, the effective date. This local law shall take effect immediately upon adoption and filing with the Secretary of State as provided by the Municipal Home Rule. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
This is a roll call vote. This will, once I send it to the state, which should be within the next few days, it will take approximately 1 month for them to.
And by the time we get the new signage in and stuff, we'll be fine.
Okay. As I said, roll call vote. Councilperson Jeffrey?
Aye.
Councilperson Harder?
Aye.
Councilperson Wilshire?
Aye.
Councilperson Blaha?
Before I vote, I just want to commend Michael G. O'Connor on his spearheading this project, and for the tremendous improvements I think this will make in understanding our local law. So I'm strongly in favor of these changes. Aye.
And Supervisor Donnelly?
And I, as long as it's amended by the section number.
Yes,
And
it has been amended.
it is a good job done, and it will help a lot of the no parking areas that were quite obviously no parking. And really, to be honest with you, a lot of it was just changing the verbiage in the law too, making it more readable, making it easier for people to understand it. Thank you.
Resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Ossining hereby appoints Naheem Gross Ossining to the seasonal position of Recreation Attendant in the Town Parks Department effective May 30th, 2015, at a rate of $8.75 per hour. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Oops.
Before we go on,
Yep. 1 second, ma'am.
me, what's the minimum wage nowadays? Okay. Somehow I thought it was a little better than that, but
Yeah.
okay.
If it gets to be a little better, they'll get it. This is for a spray park attendance. This is for the spray park.
That's fine.
Yeah, yeah. I know.
Resolve the Town Board of the Town of Ossing hereby appoints Stefan Miller, Ossing, to the seasonal position of Recreation Attendant in the Town Parks Department effective May 30th, 2015, at a rate of $8.75 per hour. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Whereas the town authorized by resolution bids for a high-pressure sewer jet trailer to be opened to the office of the town clerk on May 19th, 2015, therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Ossing hereby awards the bid for a high-pressure sewer jet trailer to the lowest responsible bidder, namely Trias, 458 Washington Avenue, Bohemia, New York, in the amount of $74,338 in accordance with the proposed bid specifications and upon review by the town attorney. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We have no correspondence to be received and filed, and we have no monthly reports, which takes us to visitor recognition. Is there anyone who's come to address the
Madam? Please give your name and address.
Ellen Radak Kahan, 83 Ganung Drive. Several years ago, my husband and I asked a police officer to come to our house and help us figure out the sound level that would be within the legal limits so that we would know when we were being affected. And on our deck, at the level that you could barely hear it while sitting there, it was at 70 decibels at the property line. We wanted to get a lower decibel reading, but the police officers were called away on a call, and that was more of a priority. But it gives us a good idea. Sunday evening, we were sitting, dining al fresco, when we suddenly heard announcements over what had to be a loudspeaker coming from 25 Studio Hill Road, which means there was either a violation of the noise ordinance or they were indoors with the windows and doors open at the event, which would be a violation of the settlement. Later on, it became quite noisy. We could hear the noise quite clearly on our deck and in our house. So that means it had to have been in excess of 70 decibels. It is my understanding that the party itself went on with music past 11 p.m. on a Sunday, which is a violation of the just issued cabaret license. We also understand this was the first party for that owner. We also suspect that the party was held, either the doors and windows were open for an extensive period of time or a lot of it was held, and for that number of people it would have had to have been outdoors past the footprint of the patio when the settlement was issued, which is the footprint for zoning purposes that can be used. Otherwise they would have to go for an extension of a non-conforming use. So we are asking, I know the board, you've told me, Suzanne, that you've already spoken with them, and we ask that the board ensure and the town ensure the laws are followed. I don't believe any summons were issued. We're not here to ask that they be issued retroactively. But if there are continued violations, then there have to be teeth, not just us constantly calling the police. It's not fair to the neighbors, and I know there's a big push for, in the comprehensive plan, for the residential neighborhoods to enhance the residential characteristic. It's also, frankly, not a good use of the police officers' time. They need to be available, and this isn't, I mean, it uses gas, it uses their time. It's just not optimal for anyone. I firmly believe there are a number of actions that can be taken. In the interest of time, we will hopefully not need to go through them, and if it does happen, we can then sit down and discuss potential actions that can be taken. Some more draconian than others. I usually prefer the non-draconian. Thank you, and have a good evening.
Thank you. Yes, we have spoken to the owner, the operator. The owner, the restaurant is operated by different people. And he explained to us what was going on, and he is going to be much more learned, or whatever one wants to call it, in the rules and regulations. We did talk to him when we issued when we had the public hearing. We did talk to him about the fact that there is a settlement. It's different rules up there because the restaurant is in the middle of neighborhoods. So he commits to working with the neighbors. He commits to working with everyone. So time will tell. I did talk to the police too today on this situation, and they did have 2 calls that night, and they responded to both. And the other person that called me this morning was very complimentary of the village, of the Ossining police that came up too. So we'll keep working on it together as we have in the past, and we'll move forward on this. Okay.
Is there anyone else who would like to address the board?
These young ladies from the high school,
Yes. Are you from the?
PIG.
Yeah. Do you have anything you want to say tonight, or?
What's PIG stand for again?
Participation in government.
Participation in government. Such a lovely word, PIG.
Oh, don't wait. We all your kids go through it. So do you guys have any comments or anything? Okay. Well, thank you for coming. And it was a perfect night to pick. It's 8:05.
Yeah.
So,
Might I have a motion to adjourn?
oh, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Let's close the meeting and you can do the closing, okay? Yeah.
Do I have a
Madam
motion to adjourn?
Yes.
So moved?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Councilmember Baha would like to speak for a few minutes, but just before that, I just want to remind people that the weather is getting warmer out there. And the spray park will open, weather permitting, this weekend down at Lewis Engel Park. We had scheduled to open it last weekend, but it was much, much too cold and windy. It ended up that Monday was a warm day, but we had already made the decision because they had said it would be cold throughout the whole weekend. These decisions sometimes are made in advance when we look at the weather report, so please bear with us. But we're looking to open it this weekend, and I just wanted to say that with all of the activities that the cemetery got this weekend, there was nothing but compliments on how great all the cemeteries in Ossining were. Dale Cemetery, St. Augustine Cemetery, the Jewish Cemetery, and Sparta Cemetery. So I want to thank everybody that works very hard in all of those cemeteries to make sure that they're ready for these very important memorial times of the year. Councilman Waha, would you like to speak?
I would. Thank you, Madam Supervisor. I'll try to be brief, although I feel that my comments they could fill up a lot of time, but I won't belabor the point. Since I believe it was since our last legislative meeting, we were fortunate enough to have received the news that the lawsuit commenced by the Village of Briarcliff against the town of Ossining to annex election districts 17 and 20 has been settled. Finalized, settled, and the lawsuit discontinued. Is that accurate?
That's more, the lawsuit's been...
I wouldn't call it settled, actually.
Yeah.
I would just say that the action's been discontinued.
Action?
Because
Okay.
it didn't require any action on the part of the town.
Right.
Okay. So I was not a member of this board at the time that the underlying grounds on which these activities were initiated. I don't know if they were initiated by the Village of Briarcliff Manor, but in my opinion, they were certainly supported wholeheartedly by the administration of Briarcliff Manor, and I was surprised to learn as I was trying to become a member of this board that one of our neighbors and one of our partners had, in my opinion, taken such an inappropriate attempt to at a land grab to take land, to annex land that was within the town and to annex it to the Village of Briarcliff Manor. I believe that as I became a member of this board and as evidence mounted that showed unequivocally that there was absolutely no support for this action to annex 17 and 20 to the Village of Briarcliff Manor. According to the law, there was no evidence in support of it. And even as public, the small vocal few that had ever expressed an interest in favor of this annexation, that public support waned. And there was, I went to a public meeting in which there was literally one human being who spoke out in support of annexation, whereas there were dozens that were there against it. And I think that in the face of all of the information out there, the fact that with this information, the Village of Briarcliff Manor still commenced a lawsuit and forced residents of the Village of Briarcliff Manor to support this through tax dollars, forced the town of Ossining taxpayers to defend this meritless lawsuit. I think it was inappropriate for neighbors, partners, and for members of literally of the same community to take such aggressive action against their own people and their own community. I'm very proud to be a member of this town board, and I want to commend the actions of the previous administration in this town for their resolve and standing up for what's right. And unfortunately, taxpayer dollars were expended on this wasteless effort by the Village of Briarcliff Manor. Again, I don't know if you know, to the extent that it was initiated by the village, but they certainly supported it. And I just am pleased that this chapter is over, and I understand that the new administration in the Village of Briarcliff Manor has shown signs of promise and in building on a collaborative and cooperative basis, and that I hope that this discontinuance of this lawsuit marks the end of an era in which the Village of Briarcliff Manor somehow felt that they're not part of us. They are part of us. We are all part of the same community. And I'm looking forward to more collaboration, more cooperation, and a new chapter of harmony in our community. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Pause. I just want to make sure that everyone, last thing, make sure that everyone knows that we have our magnets available.
Has a car. Which one? No. Well, we'll put on. Which one of you guys drives?
Okay.
We're gonna make you guys put them on.
So what it is we borrowed it from a artist who put this together, and it was in Newcastle, and a couple of residents, as a matter of fact, of Briarcliff brought it to our attention. So it says, hands off the phone and on the wheel, and it says 5 points, so the part of the hand is 5, 0 tolerance, and then the rest is the hand, and it's 5 points on your license, which is a tremendous, I think people don't realize how much 5 points is on your license. If you're a young person and you're driving and you get 5 points in your license, I believe you lose your license for 5. I mean, it's got to be very close. It's going to be very close for an adult.
You're on probation.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So anyway, we have these lovely bumper stickers and it's actually a magnet, and it does say on it, remove weekly for surface cleaning, so that it doesn't become affixed to your car.
My God.
So anyway, thank you for your comments. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your comments tonight. Thus ends another one of our lively town board meetings made next Tuesday. This is very important, everyone. Next Tuesday is a town hall meeting. It's at the library. It's not the 5th Tuesday, it's June 2nd. There's no 5 Tuesdays. Okay, unless this month goes. Yeah, oh, it does? So next Tuesday is.
Northern, I will not be there.
Next Tuesday, we'll have a town hall meeting, and at that town hall meeting, one of the things that we're going to go over is we're going to go over this community choice aggregation again, and I have some information. I have a proposed law that Greenberg just passed, so to look at there. So I have a copy of it for each of our board members for tonight, and we'll post it up on the webpage as a draft for Greenberg only. It's just to get some information off it. And the other thing that we'll be talking about is a PowerPoint for all the infrastructure, drainage, and all the projects that we've done since 2012. We came into office with some serious infrastructure issues. North State Road was still flooding. We had a drainage problem on Cedar Lane, and we had numerous other things that we just want to recap some of those things. And then the next month, we'll have another department come forth and give and talk to us about where they are with everything. So, Old Albany Post Road, we actually made a road out of nothing. We physically did not do that ourselves. We had contractors do that. So thank you all. Have a great week. This is our last weekend in May. It's so weird to have Memorial Day and then have a whole week after it. It's not normally that way, so I'm all confused. Today is Tuesday. We started work today, so it's hard. It's been we had great parades yesterday, and I encourage everyone to either participate or watch our parades that go on, because a lot of people put a lot of effort into that. Thank you all, and we'll see you next Tuesday again at Ossining Library. Did you want to say something? Oh, I thought Ossining Library for our town hall meeting. Thank you very much. Have a lovely week.